Welcome to Hitting Home. Arif, I read something interesting over the weekend.
Fascinate me, Mike. Tell me.
Well, apparently in space, our satellites that are out there, there's seismologists have microphones on select satellites that listen to activity on the Earth. They listen for seismic activity. It helps them forewarn against earthquakes. But there's a lot of background noise they get from human activity on the planet. And it's much like, the light pollution in cities that keep us from seeing the stars. But what they've noticed since COVID started was that the noise from human activity on the planet has dropped literally 50% over the past few months. And, it's kind of a tie into what we talked about over the weekend, what we wanted to speak of this in this show, and that is things have gotten quieter for all of us on a personal level, never mind on a grand global scale. And it's caused us to focus in, as we've touched on in the past, on our homes as being our castles, being the center of our universe. And what are we doing to keep our life interesting and exciting? And you had some great ideas and an interesting perspective on that. And I'm just going to shoot it over to you and tell us what you were thinking.
Oh, perfect. I mean, it's actually interesting timing. The world works in interesting ways that you were able to stumble across this article. And in fact, if you think about it, I mean, it's not overly earth-shattering information. We don't have the gatherings that we've had. Even weddings are fewer. Well, they're not necessarily fewer people attending or more virtual.
Yeah, not as few as they should be.
I never thought in my lifetime I'd be attending a Zoom wedding, but I did. And it was actually a lot of fun. We actually purposely got dressed up from sort of the waist up. We put on party hats and had
That's interesting.
Well, you know what? And it was because they were my best shorts that I was wearing. But it was a lot of fun. But we don't have people doing concerts, and we don't have performances, and we don't have sort of we are seeing a few cases of sort of the drive-in concert and the drive-in presidential-elect rally, et cetera. But, when you actually aggregate it and take a look at the whole thing, it is a quieter universe. I think what's fascinating, though, is that we have the technology to measure it, and that it is actually relevant data to seismologists and those who are doing the research. Bringing it into our show, and thanks for the plug. I actually thought it would be a bit of a fun exercise, and I want to shoot this out to our audience. By no means are we pontificating. We wanted to share some information, share some ideas with you. It's not my place to tell you what to do. I'm also going to say this to you as well. This is a scenario where Mike and I actually aren't going to look to build a client base off of this show in any way, shape, or form. We really want to share this exercise with you because I think if you do it with your significant other, with your children, whoever it may be that you share your space with, I think it'll be a pretty interesting exercise. And this is what it is. Truth is, we're not traveling. Ontario in certain municipalities is moved into higher levels, whether it's level yellow in Barrie and Simcoe County area, or whether you're down in Peel and GTA where you're in the red zone, for example. We're trending in a direction where we're not thrilled about, and it's quite likely that we need to do some own reflection and get those numbers down before we're going to be able to travel.
And that's going to be sometime.
It is, Mike, you're right. And similarly, though, we just have learned in the last week of one pharmaceutical conglomerate that has released studies saying that they have 90% positive early results on the effectiveness of their vaccine. And another one just came out saying 95%, and they've taken what's called messenger RNA approach, which is a slightly different approach. It's quite fascinating. Read, Google messenger RNA approach. There's an Italian company, by the sounds of it, an Italian name. Anyway, interesting stuff, but they're 95% effective. That's not the point. The point isn't whether or not we'll eventually come up with a vaccine. The question then becomes, are people going to take it? And
well, that's the thing.
And how readily available is it going to be for distribution, and how long is that process going to take, right?
Yeah, and if I can jump in there just for a second, and I got to say, my confidence level based upon what I'm seeing is not as high as I would like it to be. There are a lot of what I like to refer to as, excuse me, tinfoil hatters out there who are skeptical on everything. And unless we have a 80-90% participation in this vaccine, this virus will always be hanging around and moving around. So there's people who are skeptical that the virus even exists. And I just don't understand that. And there's people who know it exists, yet still choose not to take precautions. Well, Mike, and it's not our government that's out there that has to protect us. I'm sorry. It's each of us individually have to protect ourselves. This is a social disease.
I'm going to agree with you on that one. Absolutely. And I'm not going to, I have a slightly different approach or a different perspective than you. I'm not going to be the first person in line. That's just my personal opinion. However, it's my responsibility to make sure that I protect those around me. And I think that there are cases where people have argued that, look at what happened with the HPV vaccine, and now there's class action lawsuits around the side effects around it.
Right.
And listen, I want to wait until there's more testing. So in the meantime, I'm going to wear a mask. In the meantime, I'm going to wash my hands. In the meantime, stay out of.
As long as you're taking precautions.
Close contact with others. That's not the debate that I want to get into. What I do want to do when we come back from the break, though, is talk about the alternatives and what we can do at home to make the best of it. So stay with us on Hitting Home with Mike and Arif on Rogers TV Barrie.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
It was really fun working with them, especially with it when it comes to the studio tour, because it lets you meet the artists again and again. I hate to say nature inspires me, because every artist has it, but it is the grasses, the flowers, the trees, mostly rocks as well. So I use grasses over and over again. Every once in a while, somebody wants to have something special. They bring me their own flowers. For me, the glaze has to be perfect, and I like I said, a lot of depth in it. And that's it. All done.
Welcome back to Hitting Home with Mike and Arif. And I guess in a roundabout way, we took that first segment to dial in on what we want to talk about. And I guess it comes down to home being where the heart is, but it's also where our feet are going to be for the next while at least. And, because of that, I think a lot of us are taking a different look at our homes as not just being the place we go to sleep and hide away from everything, but it's the center of our universe. And that's where we're going to have to entertain ourselves. That's where we're going to have to work to keep ourselves sane and keep life interesting. And I know Sherry and I have been doing projects around the house. We've, improved the kitchen. We've been cooking some nice 3-star Michelin meals in there. There's a lot of projects that are simultaneously on the go. They're not finishing up as quickly as Sherry would like them to. I'm sure if you asked her, she would remind you of that, as she does me. But you had a whole bunch of ideas. You also had some numbers that you researched here with regards to where money is being spent pre-COVID and where it can be redirected now. So,
well, yeah, Mike. I mean, nice intro there, and you've been to my place and you've seen it. I possibly have the world's longest renovation going on here, and it's a bit of an onion. But it's a good thing that I like onion, red onion in particular, because it's become a bit of a passion project. There are times when I absolutely hate it, but it's turning out quite nicely. Here's the thing, though.
Like onions, there are tears. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. But here's the thing. I think we have an awesome opportunity here right now, as Canadians, as Ontarians, as people around the world. We have an awesome opportunity, and here's the opportunity. I think we have an opportunity to direct this internally and make a complete change. And here's the change that I'm suggesting. I can't tell you how many times I've been on social media and seen people say TGIF, thank God it's Friday, or date night away from home, or can't wait to get away, or thank God it's vacation time. And people can't wait to escape their reality and get away. Now, what's wrong with that? Some people might say. And then the question is nothing, sort of, except for this. We have an opportunity, and here's the exercise I want to do today. And as I said right off the top of the show, we're not pontificating. By no means is this conclusive, or is this going to fit every single one of our viewers' lifestyles perfectly. It's a do-it-yourself, choose-your-own adventure type of game that I'm proposing. But what I'm proposing in a nutshell is fall in love with going home. Fall in love with being at home. Fall in love with spending time with the person or people you either chose to spend the rest of your life with, or maybe didn't choose to spend the rest of your life with. That's, again, personal. But fall in love with the concept of, I can't wait to get home. So here's the exercise, right? The exercise is, we often look at a cruise or a destination that we want to go to for all the right reasons. The world is a beautiful and fascinating place. And one day we're going to be out there again doing it. In the meantime, the exercise that I would say, and we'll get into some numbers, is I think it's possible, without breaking the bank, without going into debt, without getting a second mortgage. And here's where I'm not making any money on this one. I don't want to, right? With the money that you've already got, or the money that you've already typically budgeted for a vacation, if you spend that money internally, turn your home. I want people to sort of break free from what we typically do. Oh, I'm going to add new paint, or I'm going to buy a couch, or whatever it may be. No, go big. And by go big, I don't mean break the bank. Don't use your credit cards. Don't go crazy. Take the money that you were already budgeting or planning on spending in a different destination, whether it's Mexico or Disney. Disney's a $10,000 family trip for four. Mexico's $1,500 per person, all inclusive. Money that you might have already spent.
Restaurants once or twice a week adds up over the course of a year.
Tim Hortons, $2 for a large, right? Starbucks, $3.35 for a large. Some people do that daily. A pack of cigarettes. I don't know how many people are still smoking, but if you're 365-day pack a day smoker, you're $5,457 off the top of my head, by the way. But no, I mean, like, there's money to be spent, and I'm not saying that you're going to quit smoking. Hopefully,
not spent money to be rechanneled into things that are going to serve you a whole lot better.
Money that we're already spending anyway. Typically, if we go out to a movie once a month, it's $100 experience, or $50 for two people, $15 a ticket, $20 for the combo. You're $50 plus or minus on the experience, whether or not you added dinner. If you're a couple of beverages after work type of person at the local pub, I'm not telling you not to go out to the local pub. I'm saying you might not be allowed to go out to the local pub for a while. We might not be gathering the same way we were for a while. So, $6 to $8 a drink, plus an Uber, you could be $50, $60, $100 there, whether it's daily or whether it's once a week or once a month. That's your business, not mine. I'm saying we've already got the money, we're already spending it. So what I want to do, Mike, is just roll through some numbers. And I want to say that we can turn our home into a destination. That's my goal. And I want to share some ideas. You're a realtor. You've seen.
Let's hear them. I'm on the edge of my seat.
You're on the, well, listen, I mean, what about a games room, right? There are people who go out to play games, or when they go to the all-inclusive or whatever, they want to play shuffleboard, or they want to play darts, or they want to play, and these are not expensive things. But do you have a place in your home, a rec room, that you could, and you already have it, so you don't need to do a whole renovation, that you could actually spend some time, create the ambiance, the music, the lighting, the mood, some paint, and add a dartboard, or add a card table, or just go to the secondhand store and pick up some board games. Well,
what I've noticed, if I can jump in there, is we've developed as a culture the ideal that you need to step outside of the house to fulfill yourself, to satisfy yourself. And as a realtor, I'm in a lot of homes all the time. I'd say 2/3 of the homes in Barrie were built within the last 30 years. And I'm always amazed that about 2/3 of those homes that might be 5-10 years old still have unfinished basements, big expanses of space that's not being utilized. And it baffles me. I mean, on what you said there, putting some money into a family room, a games room, and doing that at home. I'd like to, and I hope that we see more people doing that. And I expect we are starting to see that, because contractors have never been busier. Try to book one right now. You're 3-4 months down the road, if you're lucky to get somebody in. Take a drive by Lowe's, Rona, Home Depot. Look at the number of cars that are in those parking lots. People are doing the projects that you're talking about. Maybe it's just, updating and renovating, but some of the stuff you're talking about is a little more creative and taking your home to a whole other level. So I'm just going to let you continue on with that.
Yeah, so what we're going to do right now, Mike, I think you nailed it. We're going to go to break real quick. And when we come back, we're going to talk about how you can put this effort into your home and choose to stay and enjoy where you're staying. Or some people, what they're doing at the home improvement stores are taking that money and getting their house ready for sale. We're going to talk about the and factor and not the or factor. So stick with us on Hitting Home with Mike and Arif on Rogers TV Barrie.
What kind of show do you want to see on Rogers TV? What interests you? Log on to rogerstv.com, fill out a show proposal, and tell us about your segment idea. We want to know what you want to see. Rogers TV, only on Rogers.
Hey, did you know?
More than 4,500 Canadians are waiting for an organ transplant right now.
Right now. 4,500.
People are dying.
And you could save a life. 90% of Canadians say they're willing to donate their organs.
But only a few are registered.
So what are you waiting for? Get registered.
It's easy and it's free.
Leave a legacy. Be a hero.
Save a life.
Find out how to register today. Go to kidney.ca.
Do you have something to share? Let everyone know about your next meeting, your need for volunteers, or your fundraising event on the Rogers TV Community Billboard. Send us your words and we'll bring them to life on Rogers TV and rogerstv.com. When it's time to spread the word, go to rogerstv.com to add your announcement to the Community Billboard.
After involving Nuha in this program, she feels very confident. Here you have a lot of opportunity.
I learned a lot of stuff, like being kind and I'm more open-minded.
Welcome back to Hitting Home with Mike and Arif, and we're having a look at how we can view our homes through a different lens here. I know Sherry and I have been doing a lot of projects around the house because we're spending a lot more time in the house, and we want to enjoy the experience there. It's where we, come to rejuvenate, to nourish ourselves, and now it's the center of our entertainment here. I know if you walk throughout our house this year, you'll find there's the little Google Minis in just about every room. So you can have music playing in any room or throughout the whole house if you want. We've got smart light bulbs. You can set the mood and the color tones for things. And just, it's amazing how these little things can create an environment within your home. And I know you have a whole bunch of things to add to that on different scales, on things we can do with our homes to not only increase the value for us day to day, but increase the long-term value of our home when we do eventually go to sell it or trade up or trade down, whatever we do.
So yeah, Mike, I mean, and I love what you're talking about. You sound excited about what you've been doing at home. I'm obviously excited about what I've been doing at home. And I should clarify, I want to be really careful. When I said that this is the world's longest renovation, it's because I also have a job and I've got kids and I'm spending time and, want to put time and energy where it's wants to be and deserves to be.
And you don't have Sherry living with you.
No, I definitely don't. But here's the thing. I did not break the bank on this renovation. It is a bit of an onion because there's no such thing as just doing one thing. Certainly not when it comes to me. So I decided that I'm going to renovate the kitchen. I'm going to put in a new kitchen. I'm going to appreciate the view that I have I have a beautiful view out the front of my home, and right now, where people spend a lot of time. It's a social place. It is supposed to be a gathering place. It's where we communicate in family, with family and friends, etc. And that was tucked in the back of the house. And so we've moved that, but you can't move that without moving something else. So obviously this became a bigger project than it was originally intended to be. That's okay. I'm not going
anywhere. The most expensive words uttered during home renovation is, why stop there?
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. But the fact of the matter is, though, Mike, I'm not going anywhere. And I took a lot of time this summer to enjoy the outdoors. So the renovation, which is happening indoors, took a bit of a pause. Actually, it got a bit frustrating at times, having to move around things and navigate around the home. But the reality is, I'm not going anywhere. And I want this to be a place that my kids enjoy, that I enjoy, that we spend time together. So really, here's the point. The point of the entire show, what I wanted to talk about today was not going into debt to do this, not spending money that you didn't already have. But you know what? Use YouTube, use Google, call a friend, learn something. Pick up a book, read an ebook, read a PDF on how to do something. Call the professionals when you should call the professionals. I'm not a plumber.
Plumbing and electrical for me.
My background's in electrical from 20 years ago. I actually know what I'm doing.
No, I'm saying that's when I call the experts.
That's for me. That's just for me. Plumber, I am not. Finished carpenter, I'm not. I can demo.
Everybody hear that? Arif will post his number at the end of this show.
Absolutely. I can take out a wall, though, and I can actually slowly and figure things out. But it's even simple as reorganizing, or like I said, going to either Facebook Marketplace or Kijiji or the local thrift shop. You can pick up a board game. You can pick up a dartboard. You can pick up darts. You can do all sorts of things.
Yeah, foosball table, pool table, a piano, whatever you want.
Absolutely. There's always people wanting to trade or upgrade or change their environment. And that's quite fine. There are ways to do this with a reasonable budget without breaking the bank. Here's the thing, though. By the way, if anybody was paying any attention over the summer, because people already have been thinking about, well, I'm not spending my dollars abroad, I've got to spend my dollars locally. You could not find an RV. You could not find a camper. You could not find a canoe. You could not find a kayak. People were making use of the outdoors. Well, this is going to be no different going forward. Recently reaching out to a hot tub company. There are no hot tubs to be had, certainly not new. Maybe in the marketplaces there are. But if you thought that you were getting a hot tub, you're not getting one until May. And if you want one before next fall, you need to order now. Hot tubs, typically, what are they? 6,000 to 12,000. I'm sure you can go much larger if you want to. But as you said, Mike, there may be somebody who wants to upgrade and is willing to trade theirs and upgrade. The point is, create a backyard oasis. Create a place that you want to engage. Look at the marketplaces for patio sets or a hot tub or horseshoe or lawn darts or whatever it may be. Create your backyard oasis. Make it a place to have a barbecue, what do you call those, chimeneas and campfires, and a place that you want to spend time with your family. It's all doable. But in the meantime, if you pick a project and you spend some time while you're at your home, and you created a place that you want to be, that you look forward to going to, imagine the intangible value that you're going to get from reconnecting, having a conversation, enjoying some music, learning to cook, learning to dance, pick a documentary, whatever, connecting and engaging with your family. There are going to be some amazing intangible values that come out of it. And if not, if you want to move, I know a guy who will happily help you list your home and sell. Yes. And all the work that you've done has probably multiplied in value. Maybe you can speak to a second for that. The type of value that you get from doing some simple things that can really improve the equity in your home and the value in your home. Yeah,
it's immediate value for your use, and it's long-term value when you do go to sell. And on that, I just want to add a suggestion that I share with people quite a bit. If you know you're going to be selling within the next year or two, and you know that you need to improve your home somewhat, or if you do improve your home, it's going to add value. For every dollar you spend, you get 2 or 3 back, depending on where you focus that investment. I tell people to not just to focus on improvements to the structure itself, but if you think, typically people when they move, they'll go and spend money on new couches, new furnishings, new artwork, and everything else. But they do it after they move, oftentimes, because they're somehow stimulated and motivated to do it for the new house. If you do that in the 6 months to a year prior to moving, when you go to showcase that home, it looks that much better, the existing home that you're selling, and you're going to get a better dollar because it's got a nicely furnished living room versus, the old things that you say, well, we'll replace those after we move. So I know there's the added task of having to load them up and move them to the new house, but it is worth it. It really is, because the nicer your house looks when you showcase it to sell, the more value you're going to get out of it. So something to consider there.
Mike, my cars never looked better until the day before I was going to sell them. I always polished.
Well, that's typically it, isn't it?
That is, and I got great value of it. But I really, there's a fine balance on this show. Obviously our show is about real estate and finance, and we want you to do things. So hopefully our audience has taken away a couple things. One, I don't want you to break the bank, and I don't want you to go in debt. I'm talking about living within your means, working within your means, using the money that you've already got and redirecting it. Some of it's going to be sweat equity. Some of it's going to be doing it yourself. Yeah. Okay. And that's fine. Have some fun while you're doing it. Learn a new trade, learn a new hobby, learn a new craft, learn how to cook, whatever it may be. Yeah, you might be incorporating Zoom or something like that with your friends. And you know what? You might be having virtual dinner parties. That sounds a little bit weird. Yeah. We will adapt. It's our responsibility to adapt. We've got to get things under control. We might be a while we learn how this new vaccine, et cetera, works. We're not getting in that conversation. In the meantime, learn to enjoy yourself. Mike, we got to go. But don't use your credit cards. Keep your money. Learn a new craft, learn a new trade, learn a new hobby, spend the money that you're already doing. So take a minute and have a conversation around the dinner table about where you can reallocate some
repurpose that money.
We got to go, but thank you for joining us on Hitting Home with Mike and Arif on Rogers TV Barrie, and we'll see you again next week.